Right, let's talk Arsenal then. Top of the Premier League, 3 goals conceded in all competitions, John. And Gabriel Martinelli dreaming not of 1, not of 2, not of 3, but a potential quadruple. You spoke to him earlier on in the week. What did he have to say?
Well, not just that, but also saying a lot of this squad is dreaming about the World Cup as if it's a great incentive, obviously, for performance levels and why they need to keep on winning. But yeah, he was saying that they very much believe that they're in for the biggest prizes. They've got the squad to deal with it this year. What I really like about Martinelli is that undoubtedly he is a player that's been under pressure. There's been a lot of doubts over perhaps his future, whether he's a starter or not. He's been in and out of the team, but whenever he's come on as a substitute, he's made an impact. I'm thinking of Bilbao and then also Manchester City. The other night, I thought he was exceptional in that game against Atletico Madrid. And here's one for you. Where does that rank in 45 minutes of football under Mikel Arteta? I think it's very difficult to always kind of compare and contrast because the opponents are different. It's not your classic Atletico team, but I still think it's right up there. 4 goals in, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, absolutely sensational. But it was the way they put their kind of foot to the floor in that second half. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. I do think they are playing well. They're playing well with energy, flair, and dare I say it, set pieces. Arteta gets very defensive. We were both at Arteta's press conference on Friday, weren't we? And he does get rather almost affronted, offended when people ask him too much about set pieces. I can understand why, because sometimes they do play good football in open play and they score spectacular goals from open play. But I don't actually understand why he gets a little bit hurt, should we say, about that sort of kind of, dare I say, sort of almost backhanded compliment, because they're the best in the business at corners. A lot of people are doing better than them at throw-ins, but I tell you what, when it comes to free kicks, no one's better. And why wouldn't you champion that? Why wouldn't you use that as a weapon in the armoury? It's got all the makings of a spectacular season for Arsenal. I think it's worth noting as well, you know, how many leaders they've got on the pitch, how many kind of strong personalities. You know, Odegaard's out. Last season, that would have been a disaster. Now you've got Saka wearing the armband. I love Saka. I think he should be kind of captain for club and country in his career. And they've got leaders right throughout the team, I think, you know. So it's got the makings of a really spectacular and special season for Mikel Arteta.
Riyadh, picking up on Mikel Arteta, there's a very interesting piece in The Observer from George Sims. He says, belligerent, defensive, but is Arteta also shower saboteur? This is to do with the maybe underhand tactics some have accused Arsenal of when Atletico Madrid didn't have any hot water on Monday evening after their training session. Now, there is an interesting quote in here on this piece, He says, look, we appear to be reaching the point where Arteta is becoming the manager he's always pretended to be, or at least the one he has always believed himself to be, the serial winner, the prodigal son, Guardiola's heir and usurper. The defining feature of the 4-0 win over Atletico was not the dominance, but the ease and the nonchalance as well. Confirmation of the burgeoning suspicion that Arsenal, and by extension Arteta, now belong reasonably among Europe's elite. I remember John was at the press conference before the Atletico game, and one of the questions you did ask him was about Diego Simeone's last visit to England, when he had that altercation with a fan. And Arteta said, look, I sympathise with him because it's very, very difficult to keep your emotions in check. But he's actually said, I'm working on becoming a lot more calmer. Is it working?
No. No, it's like, that's utter madness as a proposition. He's a lunatic on the sideline. And he's fantastic for it. I just want to dwell a little bit on the shower thing as well, because I know there's the suspicion and then there's the official version that no, this was accident, both showers, cold water went off for everyone. No. I've got no information left or right on this, but I love the idea that Mikel Arteta is somehow channeling John Beck, and he's resorting to all of the filthy tricks in the book, and I can actually well imagine it as well. I think he's fantastic, Arteta, and beyond the team and the squad that he's built there and how it might be coming to a head this season, it's just even as that character, that personality basis for the Premier League. It's great when you have someone who fans are divided down the middle, where you think this man's a a genius moving in the right direction, or you absolutely despise him. It's always something quite nice when you have polarising individuals like that. But what he's built there this season, or what the squad that's been partially built for him, they are creating something brilliant. We're going to come on to City in a minute, because that is the that is the soundtrack now to their season, and you play the sort of John Williams Jaws score behind as sort of City suddenly become competent again. And with Arsenal, it's again going to what sort of Cross was saying a moment ago. I love that somehow set pieces have become a dirty word, as if this isn't one of those skills that has endured throughout the history of football and has always been incredibly important, and they've mastered something. That's brilliant, but it's sort of to try and minimise Arsenal to a team reliant on Declan Rice or Saka set pieces is utter garbage, because they play the most beautiful football, and we'd seen it prior to the Atletico win in midweek. I was over at the Fulham game the Saturday before, and what impresses me most about this Arsenal team is the different ways of being able to get to the same outcome. So we've seen them play teams off the pitch. You look at the talent in that squad, whether it's Saka, Odegaard when he's fit, Calafiori, fantastic defence, Declan Rice. They can beat teams with art. But that Fulham game was actually pretty ugly. They had to dig in. They had to ride out a little bit. They didn't face many what we would consider to be proper chances, but they spent a huge amount of that game on the back foot, and they still found a way of doing it when they didn't have their best stuff. And that's another dimension that they've been able to add this season. So I think we're seeing a far more complete Arsenal. Obviously, that goes hand in hand with the fact that they've got the deepest squad in the league now this season. I think we're in this period now. Prior to the Fulham game, it was 7 games in 3 weeks. It's now down to 5. But the fact that they're able to move through this congested period of the season, winning each week, I think that's huge. I think it's an interesting game today against Palace. We've seen what they've done this season. That's not going to be easy, but these are precisely the kind of games which we would have looked at last season, like we did with West Ham and Fulham last season, and say this is going to be possibly where wheels come off. And now we're looking at it thinking it would be a surprise if it did.
Yeah. Arsenal against Crystal Palace, and it is live on Sky Sports Premier League this afternoon.